Hello, everybody. Welcome to WD Carousel Podcast. My name's Crystal.
And I'm Ian.
And we are coming to you about Patreon. Patreon is a program that we are part of that we are looking to get sponsorship from you guys. And so here's a little bit about what we offer.
Yeah, so we are going to offer just one level for Patreon, and it is you will become a pass holder, and that gives you access to a couple of things. The first thing you get is early bird access to all of our episodes. So as soon as I get an episode done, as soon as we shoot it and I upload it, you will have access to it at that very moment, and it'll be delivered to you through the Patreon app, or you can use our other new feature, which is the new CoPass app, which will be sent to you how to get access to that once you sign up. And it will give you an index of all of our episodes going way back, searchable, everything is there, and you get a place to add new topics to converse with us about that we can potentially go over in the future, and stuff like that. And so we're really excited about it as a concept.
Yeah, you can favorite your favorite episodes so you can listen to, or for the ones that you're planning on going to Disney, go ahead and save those. That way you know what to do when you're getting there. But this is all for just $5, and $5 it gives you the monthly, I'm gonna say, pass holder level. And so just check it out. We're looking forward to giving you this information and this early content.
All right, now with the show.
Thanks, everybody.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to WD Carousel Podcast. My name's Ian.
And I'm Crystal.
We're going to continue our D23 coverage this week on the parks, but more importantly, Epcot, because that's like a lot of the stuff they talked about.
They talked about advances coming to every single Walt Disney park, but just like one or two here, one or two there. The biggest announcement, though, like you said, was centered around Epcot, which is basically having the biggest, and they even said this, the biggest overhaul to a Disney park that's ever happened.
Which is a lot to take in.
Now, for those of you who have recently been to Epcot, you might love it. You might really be interested in parts of it. But for me, I mean, I feel like this is a very much needed update, especially to the Future World area, where right now I have the general feeling of a dead mall where there's like one, you go to it because you have to, and there are one or two things that you might go see.
It's kind of like you walk in and it's like a 1970s mall built on the surface of the sun, and you kind of are like, or I have to walk through here to get to Mission Space and then to the World Showcase. You know, it's kind of, it feels like it's there to sort of function. That's about it.
It's an unnecessary, thrilling requirement to get to the part where you actually want to go to.
Right. There's part of me that loves kind of like the dorky charm of the vibe, but at the same time,
I do too. But the other things that were keeping the quirky charm going and making it feel like a whole world have been either erased or replaced.
Right.
And so there are so many buildings that are just sitting there.
Right.
That
this is true.
It felt like a dead mall.
It did.
Because Ellen's Energy Adventure was empty for a long time. The Odyssey building was empty for a long time.
Is that the one they also call Festival Center?
That was the Festival Center for the last couple of festivals.
Wonders of Life, I think, was what it originally was. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. So long ago.
Either way, there are so many different buildings that just are not being used. You walk by them and you're like, oh, there was a building there. I'm not seeing any signage. I'm not seeing anything. It's abandoned spaces.
Right.
So they're taking their time and they're definitely reworking the entire park, not just Future World, but they're revamping everything to make it feel a bit more cohesive.
Right. So instead of being Future World and then World Showcase, which was kind of split it down the middle between those two things, and so it didn't fit in World Showcase, then it just kind of got dropped into Future World. That's kind of what they were. At first, it wasn't like that. At first, they had lots of kind of pavilions and they had kind of a thought, but then it just kind of swapped over. So instead of doing that, they've taken Future World and they're splitting it into three. So then they have the World Showcase, and then they have their neighborhoods that are the three sections.
World Showcase is included in one of the neighborhoods, so they're technically four neighborhoods in
total. Yeah.
Epcot to come.
Yes. So you've got as the existing traditional one, World Showcase, then they've got World Nature. Mm-hmm. Then they've got World Celebration, which is kind of more where you come in.
The center area,
Yep. And then World Discovery.
So let's break down a little bit about what's going to be happening in each world or each neighborhood.
Neighborhood, we say in quotes.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Exactly.
But starting with the one that you're going to primarily enter in on, World Celebration. So World Celebration is the center aisle of what is currently the entrance Future World heading up to World Showcase. And for the people who have been there recently or have been watching update videos, they already know that the League of Legacy big monoliths are coming down.
Oh, they're coming down.
Yep. One side's completely gone. They currently have the other side blocked off, including that fountain up front, so that way they can start the changeover on that. But they're going to be going to a more nature-based section, so a lot more flowers,
kind of
flower
gardeny,
beds, which will be really nice when it comes to talking about the different festivals to be able to show off.
Right. Now, the other question I had about that is with the Leave a Legacy thing, are those being put somewhere else?
Yes, they are going to a resort. Don't ask me which one.
Understood. Okay.
But they are going to be moved. They are not being destroyed, unlike the tiles in Magic Kingdom. These are being relocated.
Okay.
They are redoing the fountain in front of Spaceship Earth to something that looks more reminiscent of the original fountain. Which
Gotcha.
I appreciate them
That's nice. Yeah.
being a little bit more retro feeling with that.
Right.
Trying to wrap it back around.
Yeah.
And then going to the big ball itself, Spaceship Earth.
So Spaceship Earth itself is not going away or anything, but they're doing some fairly significant changes. So the ending of the attraction used to have that kind of the communications kind of world globe thingy. All that stuff is going away. They're replacing it with an entirely new ending building area.
And they actually have a special name for it. I think I wrote that down. Let me find it here real quick.
Opening the real notes.
Yes. The paper ones. The Dreamer's Point.
Dreamer's Point. So, and that kind of brings up the other thing with Spaceship Earth is they are changing its entire focus.
They're changing the story that's told in there, and they're going from communications to actual storytelling. They're going to be changing the narrator, changing the music, and you're going to be following essentially this ball of light around Spaceship Earth and the scenes.
Right.
They're hoping to be able to retain as many of the classical scenes as we know it. So things like the cave drawings and Egyptians telling their stories and that sort of thing. But it's going to be less tech.
And more the storytelling aspect.
More storytelling.
Which makes sense. It kind of seems like a natural progression. Since they're shifting the meaning of the neighborhood, they can take the existing thing, which is communication. Storytelling is so very related in the same thing that it kind of makes sense as to why they would make that change.
I just hope that when they update it, they will update the coming down part so it's not just the blank walls on the side anymore with the little, cartoon on the front of your
It seems
screen.
like there should be a big opportunity there for them to do something with it. And I think they're putting so much out there. I'm hoping that they know that they're going to just go in and do all of that. I hope they're not trying to spread themselves too thin trying that, but I think it'd be good.
A couple of other additions to the celebration area, they're going to be adding a Walt statue, which even though he didn't really have too much of opinion regarding the creation of the park, it was Walt's original idea for Epcot, the experimental prototype community of tomorrow.
Right.
And so they want to pay homage to him in the park this way.
Which is, it's very interesting because they're kind of taking, it does feel like in a way they're kind of taking with the neighborhoods, the original concept of the Epcot community, experimental prototype community of tomorrow, and trying to create neighborhoods instead of pavilions. But they are again trying to take that concept with each pavilion being focused around something and taking entire areas and doing kind of a similar concept. So it is nice to see that they're trying to do something cohesive, which is what Epcot is really based around.
And one of the things that at least the preliminary sketches is that you might be able to actually walk up to this Walt statue like you're able to do in Disney California Adventure.
Okay.
Unlike the partners statues where they have a garden around it and you're not able to approach it. So this could be a good photo opportunity, I hope, in the future.
Yeah.
A couple things that they touched base on but didn't really give us a lot of explanation regarding was a wishing tree and a story fountain in that area.
Okay.
I know that they're going to be smaller little aspects before you get to the big guy, which is the new 3-story festival center building.
So that would replace the existing festival center pavilion that they've done, and they're going to move all of that stuff.
No, it is. Well, they've been putting the festival center, air quotations, into dead buildings.
Right.
And so this will be a centralized location
designated place for that. Because
for that.
The last number of seasons they've been using the Wonders of Life Pavilion as their festival center in quotes, but it wasn't really designed for that. They were just kind of using it. So now in this case, they're able to create something that they're going to dedicate to that, which is, since they're so based around the festivals, they can actually kind of put forward something for that. It's kind of neat.
And it looks really neat. Like the 3 stores, it's not going to be like a solid brick building. In fact, it's going to be very open, very airy. They're talking about the bottom having open plazas. The second level is going to be the actual festival center area. And then the third level is actually talking about it being a really good viewing location for the future fireworks shows. Having like upstairs garden greenery areas. And it looks really, really neat. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how that happens. I know they're getting rid of the Fountain of Nations. I'm guessing that's where they are going to be putting it, because that is such a huge fountain. It leaves them, since I knew they were getting rid of it, a pretty decent sized footprint to be able to put something there.
Makes sense. And let's start with the next neighborhood of the what do they call them, the 3 front neighborhoods, and that is the World Discovery, which is
there is no of there.
I know, and I want to put it in there, but I'm trying not to. And it is on the left side of what was originally the traditional Future World. And if you remember that area of the park, you would know that that's where Ellen's Energy Adventure is, and that is where the new Guardians of the Galaxy coaster will be going. And they have officially named it. And they are calling it Guardians of the Galaxy: Cosmic Rewind.
I don't know if the colon's actually there. I made him put it in there, but I didn't want it all to run together.
It's
but
in the notes, and I'm excited about it. Anyway, so from a coaster standpoint, because I'm a coaster guy,
yes,
the cars I believe can go all the way around. Like, they can rotate on the pedestal.
Yeah, because you're going to be flying with Star-Lord, and so things are going to be popping up all over.
And
so they're going to be able to turn you and shift you to wherever you need to go.
Be looking and stuff, which is cool. And it's also going to be the first Disney coaster, and I don't know if other places have it, but it's the first reverse launch. And I believe usually they're linear induction motor, so like a magnetic, and it would actually push the car backwards, which is nutsburgers. But anyway, I'm curious to see how that'll be.
You found out about it and you were like, what?
Yeah.
The next pavilion in the little area is the Play Pavilion. That one's taking over the Odyssey Pavilion.
Spelled incorrectly.
Nobody's seeing these notes but you and I. You didn't have to call yourself out on it.
I know.
This one sounds like a good area for children.
Yeah. We'll kind of leave it there.
Play Pavilion, they're talking about helping Edna Mode solve fashion crises in the world.
I mean, I would like to help Edna Mode, let's be honest.
Or Huey, Dewey, and Louie with a water balloon fight, but like not actual water. It's like VR controllers sort of Wii thing.
We would like to play.
And there's going to be character opportunities both live as well as on screens to be able to interact, and I don't know what's going on there. Mission space next to it stays like normal, but there is the new addition.
So they're putting in a restaurant, which is just not at all where my brain was going to be for all of this, but they're putting in a restaurant called Space 220. Which is going to be a table service restaurant. As far as we know, it's not going to be a signature, but we don't know for sure. But so the idea is that it's basing it around the concept of it being a space, like it's like in the future, a space restaurant that you could get to via a space elevator, which
220 miles above the Earth's surface.
Which, if they pull it off well, I would definitely want to go see it. Be honest, I would definitely go eat there because that'd be fun. But it feels very whimsical in a classic Disney sense. So I kind of like that they're going for a non-IP based kind of fun extra thing. So I'm all about that.
And that feels a lot more along the lines of the theme, which is world discovery.
Yeah.
So there you have the exploration and all of that stuff along with it. I feel like that fits a little bit more than necessarily the play pavilion. I mean, you discover with play, but it really depends on the stuff that they offer in there.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, it's all kid oriented, so I'm probably not going to have any real opinion on it. Mm-hmm. But I think that as long as it's if it fosters the sense of discovery and exploration and stuff, sure, we'll go with it.
And then Test Track stays where it is with no changes whatsoever.
Done so recently.
Moving to the right side is going to be a little bit different because they're taking out the whole innovations building on that side.
Okay.
And so you are not going to have that surround building where you currently have like the Starbucks, Club Cool, a couple shops, all of that is gone. Sure. They're actually keeping it on the left side. They're just redoing everything.
Gotcha.
But they are completely demolishing the building on the right-hand side. So
Club Cool, no.
Have better access to the other pavilions. Seas with Nemo and Friends is going to stay the same. Going to Living with the Land, there is an addition to the movie area, which was the Circle of Life for a while, but that's been shut down. They are changing it to Awesome Planet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Looks like a Nat Geo movie, which is fine.
You know, if it's a good one and they do it well.
The Land Pavilion, you could talk about the world. We're in World Nature neighborhood.
Yeah.
It fits.
It's the only pavilion that's really remained strong and steadfast throughout all this time, right?
Without too many changes.
Yeah.
Like a title change with the sea with Nemo and Friends.
Oh, hi, IP.
And then they're going to be adding another little section, and it's a Journey of Water area. It is not an attraction. It's like a walk-through experience.
Okay.
Kind of themed off of Moana, but not officially. They have the little swirly swirl in there.
Gotcha.
I just remembered. Side note, the example that they showed for the Spaceship Earth, one of the updates, had a image of them being on the ocean with a ship, and then all of a sudden the manta ray went across the sky like grandma.
Aww.
But they didn't acknowledge it, so that's all of us nerds going, I recognize
see what
that.
you did there.
You're throwing IP into my Spaceship Earth.
You know, if it's low key, I'm good with it.
But Journey of Water should just be a nice fun play area. I'm guessing they're gonna have like waterfalls, reverse fountains, that sort of thing, like they have the reverse fountains near the Imagination Pavilion right now.
Right.
Speaking of Imagination Pavilion, we have no clue how that's going to work into the nature neighborhood.
Right. So it's on that side. Mm-hmm. So, wow. Yeah, that's going to be, because that would, in a perfect world, that would live on the Discovery side.
Correct.
Oh,
but
boy.
they can't really just pick up a pavilion and move it over to the other side.
Right.
And that ride needs a revamp. Do I think that they need to replace it with something else? No, because dang it, you take away Figment away from me, and I'm going to be very, very mad.
They're going to take away Figment from you.
No!
I can just tell. No! Well, we'll worry about that later. That's
I mean,
future
a purple
and future.
dragon's not really that nature-y.
No. Well, I'm sure they'll figure something out.
Yeah. They always have plans on top of plans on top of plans.
Exactly.
Some of the World Showcase updates are a lot of
just show stuff.
Updates. So the Circle Vision in China is changing to Wondrous China.
Do we know if those are going to be still Circle Vision shows?
Yes.
Or just new? Okay. And then we've got, for Canada, they're changing it to Canada Far and Wide.
I don't know if
what that means, if Martin Short's come back or not.
Yeah, probably not.
That'd be fun though.
And then in the France Pavilion, Impressions de France is actually going to be splitting the theater time with a new show. It's Beauty and the Beast Sing-Along.
Okay, I'm fine. We'll keep going.
It's okay. Depending on popularity, they might bring one or the other.
Right.
Please keep Impressions de France.
For all of us. And then additionally in France, they're adding a Ratatouille ride.
Which they've already been working on for a while, so this isn't necessarily new information, but it will be coming out next year, hopefully, so you guys should be seeing more of that coming along, as well as Le Crêperie de Paris, which is the crepe place that's going to be opening up in France, too.
Sweet. Excited.
I love how some of the pavilions, the country pavilions,
Yeah.
are like so big and so much stuff going on.
Right.
And then there's like a couple of them where it's like,
Oh.
like Canada, you have Circle Vision and then the restaurant.
Yep. And a little waterfall. That's about it. It's fun though. But so in Britain, they are making
The big news.
The first expansion in a long time in Britain. They are adding the Mary Poppins expansion. We don't know. Is they just calling it? Is there a name for it?
It's just an expansion right
Okay.
now. They just had Mary Poppins on
Yeah.
the poster, and they actually had Dick Van Dyke come out and do a little dance with his
course.
chimney sweeps and everything.
Probably did pretty well considering he's like in his 90s.
I know,
It's
he was
insane.
very disappointed to hear that Mary Poppins will be 65 this year.
Oh.
He's like, 65? Really? Yeah.
Oh man.
He looks good for his age.
The dude is surprisingly spry.
But what they're talking about with this is they are not going to be supposedly tearing down any of the existing buildings. They will be doing an expansion into Cherry Tree Lane, where you'll be able to walk down Cherry Tree Lane, go past the Admiral's house, where hopefully they'll actually set off the cannon.
Right? That seems to be a huge waste if
kinda
you didn't.
have to.
If you're gonna build it, like.
And then they talk about being able to go into number 17. I don't know what's going to be inside there. If it's going to be like a
Emily
store,
Blunt. No,
a store, a walkthrough exhibit, a future attraction. They did
Yeah.
not specify. But
cool though.
yeah, I could see them expanding towards the International Gateway, because they do have that
Some
little
space on
open
that side.
area versus
Yeah.
the other side, which goes into the other festival center.
Center, yeah, right. right. Oh man.
So I could see that being where they extended
Did it,
out, but
sure.
I guess we'll see.
Sure. So so they've got a couple of things with the new evening show. So as we know, Illuminations, Reflections of Earth is dead, which is
And I'm going to go see it one more time,
so
there,
it's
man.
very, very close to dead. Isn't it like a light version right now? That they kind of is it the full version
There
still?
have been a couple things that have not been able to run recently. That is correct.
Okay, so it's
But it's not officially
more or less
lighter.
Illuminations is still sort of running. So what they're going to do is they're going to, and I don't remember what date that they switch it over.
October 1st.
October 1st. They are going to create a new show called Epcot Forever, which is going to operate just while they're working on the new permanent show.
And it looks kind of interesting. They were talking about kites and jet skis, and it's like, okay, this better just be temporary, because if you're going from Illuminations
To a jet
kites
ski.
and jet skis,
Oh boy.
that
So,
does
yeah.
not sound as equal of a trade-off.
Wouldn't that be kind of the worst to be the guy in charge of putting together the temporary Epcot show? Yeah, I worked on the temporary Epcot show. Anyway, sorry, that's a separate thing.
But in 2020, they are talking about the new permanent show, which is going to be called Harmonious.
Which definitely seems to play into the new vibe, but they're going with their whole neighborhood
Yeah,
thing.
so this should be along the lines as well of they broke it down the word to Harmony Us with a capital U-S. And it's supposed to be Disney music themed.
Gotcha.
So we're hoping to bring back some more of those classic Epcot tunes,
Yeah.
as well as some regular favorites. They are saying this is going to be bigger and brighter and flashier than even Happily Ever After is.
Right.
So that is a pretty high bar.
Yeah. Well, and Illuminations, believe it or not, was my favorite show, traditionally. So I could see them being like, okay, we gotta go big for Epcot, this huge performance area that we have to do, so... you
So
know.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But those are the Epcot updates. Question.
Yeah.
Is it changing from Epcot to IPCOT? Go.
I think no.
Why?
Because it doesn't feel to me... I was worried that it was going to be a lot more heavy on the worlds being pushed just toward... Like, we're gonna put a Guardians of the Galaxy thing here. We're gonna stick a big
Moana thing over here. We're gonna do Mary Poppins over here. We're
Right,
gonna do
but they did-
Edna Mode here.
Yes, but to me,
Coco here.
Coco, right? Come on, somebody. I want that one. Anyway, moving on. I think that it felt like when they did this integration with the with some of the IP that they brought in, which wasn't a ton. I was worried that they were going to kind of take over a section with some stuff. It seems like anytime that a little piece of IP shows up, it is integrated into the new structure they're building into Epcot, which I feel the new neighborhood system, even though it's going to be pretty dramatic in its change, is really not going to be that far off the mark for what Epcot is all about. You know, it stays in line with what it's supposed to be. And so to me, it doesn't feel like it's going to be significantly worse than the existing IP they've already injected into Epcot. It'll just be more well integrated.
I will admit, before they came out with the neighborhoods and we were trying to figure out how everything fit, when they said they were bringing Guardians of the Galaxy, I was like, oh, there goes Epcot.
There we go. Yep, that's the end of Epcot. Yeah.
Bye, Epcot, as we know it and love it. You will be missed. But it does fit a little bit better in the way that they've made it.
Right.
We'll also see in future years how they evolve it, update rides,
Right.
update pavilions, and see if it keeps heading more towards IP
or
Ratatouille.
Right.
Or, what the situation is.
Everything they've put in so far has been okay, apart from the Guardians of the Galaxy thing, which I think is completely out to lunch for everything. I'm sorry, that's fine. I like the franchise, to be honest, but I do not like that they put it where they put it. But that's beside the point. Instead, though, I think that I lost my train of thought. I had a whole thought there. What were we just talking about?
IP and Epcot.
IP and Epcot. It's
Theming.
gone. Yes, the whole concept of they brought some stuff in that wasn't IP based. They were bringing in new concepts that weren't IP based. I think that was huge. Adding on that restaurant to Mission Space, that was big. They're doing something that's very creative and very Imagineering focused and trying to do that sounds like a very Walt thing to do. Let's do a space themed restaurant and because in his case it was, let's do a tiki themed restaurant and bring live birds. It sounds like a Walt thing to do and try to make this whole experience. I think that those are really promising things that they did in trying to invest in the actual structure of the park and how it is its own unique flavor that's kind of separate from a lot of other Disney stuff. That's just kind of my own personal thing. I think it's promising that they're not trying to give up on the DNA of Epcot as a whole.
Yeah. I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We certainly will.
I'm a little bit more pessimistic about it because I think about the number of rides that originally were, or pavilions that were standalone, like the Seas. I mean, that's Nemo, and they forced Nemo onto it. Or,
Yeah, I agree. I did not like those decisions either. I think that's certainly true. I'm not happy with the changes that they have previously made involving IP. But in my mind, it hasn't gotten dramatically worse with these changes. I guess is kind of where I'm at.
True.
That's kind of my view on the thing. But that's just me. That's my thing.
We'll see when it starts to get all the updates done. I do know that very, very, very soon they will be closing the innovations buildings and closing the center buildings to start construction there as well. Don't be afraid to go to Epcot while these construction
things are happening.
Yeah, just because it's already been dead in those areas, so you're not going to notice much of a difference, let's be honest.
Right. And the World Showcase isn't getting much construction, so a lot of people's favorite parts of it are not changing anyway. On top of that, Epcot did get a new logo. That's just some random little thing. It's got
I liked the logo.
I think it looks really nice, personally.
I think it helps harken back to the classic Epcot style.
I personally didn't even really think about what the current logo looked like, and I had to look it up again. I'm like, oh yeah, that's... Actually, I kind of like the new one. It's more kind of fun, retro.
And they have a new theme song too, which again harkens back to a little bit more original Epcot feeling.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. I definitely like those changes.
There are some things that they're...
Yeah. And the other thing that they did when they were talking about the new updates to the new neighborhood area as the replacement for Future World, they also talked about how they're going to add a lot more shade. I thought that was huge because I totally get it. They must have gotten so many complaints about the concrete jungle over there, and there's just nowhere to cool off. So that's
the future is not cement anymore.
Exactly, it's all about the greenery and buildings that are integrated into the garden and kind of creating that whole vibe. So I'm excited to see that. I think that it will be very, very cool.
And so on that note, this has been WD Carousel of Podcast. My name is Crystal.
And I'm Ian.
And we hope you have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Beautiful tomorrow. just a dream away.